it is always about the money and maybe a little bit of control. Soon your very existence becomes trivial. Mathematical probabilities for making money, starting a company, etc., etc. From FOBO. Apparently, the robot wars have started. Well, sort of. A Tesla engineer was apparently extremely hurt and attacked by a robot. Has the AI gone rogue? I don't know. Nonetheless, it seems it was a brutal and bloody attack. Was it by one of these guys? In a hilarious article by the World Economic Forum on FOBO, as it relates to AI and robotics in the workplace, how we're all going to just be replaced, literally titled, "Is AI Making You Suffer? FOBO." Sometimes reality is just stranger than fiction, and these guys are masters of making things seem a little goofy, putting it very mildly here. So the crowd that wants us to live in tiny homes, eat bugs instead of red meat, and live in the metaverse, now they say we might suffer from FOBO. You just can't make this stuff up anymore. It's just too funny. FOBO is fear of becoming obsolete, or fear of obsolescence. So why the hell would they write something like that? But it's all related to AI. Okay, so they say around a fifth of US workers say they have FOBO, fear of obsolescence, that they will become obsolete. But don't worry, okay, because they offer some guidance, some things to make everyone feel just a little bit better. So they write that emerging tech, including AI, will disrupt jobs and employee skills in the coming years. And that's probably all true. There's no denying that. But the devil's in the details, and some of what they say is just it's beyond ludicrous. They talk about that AI systems have become so advanced that many people have developed anxieties of the potential for AI to make human skills itself, human skills, jobs, and even the human species itself obsolete. That's FOBO. The notion that we will create or evolve ourselves into oblivion. And what they say next is probably what's the most revealing, let's say. Now, I gotta say, what I really love about these guys is that they basically put it all out there. They want you to eat bugs. They literally let you know. They want you to stop driving. They let you know. They have no problems informing and guiding basically everyone in the developed world. All super, super interesting. Okay, so here's the really weird part, almost comedic. They say quickly, more and more human domains once thought impossible to replicate art, music, emotion, fall prey to the advancing algorithms until all uniquely human talent and purpose dwindles in the face of superior robotic counterparts. Soon your very existence becomes trivial. What? That is the WEF. It's pure insanity, pure horse manure, of course. And according to the article, an AI bot wrote that very paragraph that I just quoted, where apparently the person writing the article prompted Claude.ai to basically provide some kind of intro to the FOBO article. And that's what it came up with. Then they provide a poll by Gallup, basically saying that 22% roughly of US workers have this FOBO feeling, where US workers worry about tech replacement. 22%, which is up from roughly 12%. So quite a big jump just in 6 years, and that number is likely to go higher. They say that the younger folks from 18 to 34 had the biggest jump, 11% jump in concern of replacement by robots and AI. Also, those that went to college, they're starting to get more worried. They jumped from 8% to 20%. Those that did not go to university, well, basically have always been worried about replacement by AI or just robots. Where men and women have basically the same fear levels, and those that make under 100,000 have way more fear of replacement than those that make over 100,000. No surprise there. So unfortunately, how sad is it that all these people protest to get minimum wage going up, making it higher, but then they just get replaced by robots? It's pretty sad. Somehow, all this progress is a lot of people basically being out of a job. They go on to claim in the article that trainers, sustainers, and explainers will experience job growth, as well as some medical professionals. Trainers being software engineers, big data people, programmers, etc., etc. Basically keeping the systems alive and adding to the systems, such as electric engineering. So tech to grow more tech, where the explainers are kind of an extension of the trainers for AI. They say this is an area of great job growth, i.e. design interfaces or even become a personalized AI assistant tutors, coaches, etc., with the help of AI. Then they mentioned sustainers within the AI field, such as content creators, data curators, and ethics and governance specialists. All fine and dandy, but then they get to something kind of funny. They kind of boast that the protests, the strikes, the screenwriter strikes in Hollywood was because they could be replaced by AI, which is hilarious. They kind of boast that AI has the potential to produce even full-scale movies, entire cinematic storylines for TV and film, and of course articles, books, training materials, etc. It's like they like the idea. Pretty weird. But why would they write something like that? So funny enough, all of this is basically white-collar work. But they say that manual labor, manual jobs, is unlikely to be impacted by AI. So work, essentially, is okay. It'll be safe. So with people suffering FOBO, fear of being obsolete, they conclude in their Jobs of Tomorrow report that it will be incumbent upon businesses and governments to take proactive steps in preparing the workforce for the extensive transition to come, to ensure that all members of society benefit to the transition of AI. Here's some charts where they provide some probabilities of, well, if the job will be replaced or not by AI. So we gotta stop eating the meat, driving the cars, and now we got a fear of becoming obsolete. You can't make this stuff up. These guys are royal comedians. You know, one could probably make a bunch of very funny and interesting Venn diagrams with all of these people because their perspective is just so hilarious. Anyways, you're probably thinking, well, what about Q-Star? That crazy thing from Sam Altman, OpenAI, all the rage behind ChatGPT, or even synthetic data, where the AI learns from itself. And I think most of that stuff is absolutely just fear-mongering to the next level. For example, this guy, a trusted lead advisor to the WEF itself, where he claims that artificial intelligence will give us godlike abilities. And this godlike ability, which he calls intelligent design, is going to be the new driving force of the evolution of life. Therefore, big data and control of that big data processing is godlike abilities. And honestly, the fear-mongering is no joke. This guy, again, a lead advisor, he says we're hackable animals. His words, that we're no longer mysterious souls, we're just a bunch of hackable animals. This wacky guy even went as far as saying that Homo sapiens as we know it will disappear in a century or so. But for some reason, the people that are always talking about AI, the benefits, the scariness of AI, it's like just enough of me and just a little too much of you. The same guy said that AI could create a new religion, that AI can make its own sacred texts. Not a joke. This guy's serious. There is one thing that he said that I totally agree with. In May of last year, speaking at a conference in Switzerland, this guy said that AI had crossed a new frontier, of course mastering the language made by humans, where he said, contrary to some crazy theories that people assume, you don't really need to implant chips in humans in order to control them or manipulate them. Lead advisor. This guy knows a thing or two. Now, if you just Google average human data size or something like that, it'll only give you the average human's memory capacity, putting it at about 2.5 petabytes, 2.5 million gigabytes. Now, if you do the same thing with ChatGPT, it gives you a different number, of course. For example, this first answer that came up was 570 gigabytes of data acquired from books, the web, Wikipedia, and of course, numerous news articles, Twitter. All of it combined to work as an LLM AI, large language model, all working together mathematically on probabilities that it has been fed, of course, by humans. Other estimates put the data size for AI ChatGPT version 4 at about 1 petabyte, so less than half of your average person's supposed data set, which is at 2.5. Now, most of the data that's fed into the system is called synthetic data. And this is a perfect visual illustration of what synthetic data is. So synthetic data is essentially just fake data. It's artificially generated to simplify and give privacy to the model of the data sets that it produces. Very useful, let's say in healthcare, finance. For example, a banking giant like JP Chase can take all of the customer data it has, which it obviously has quite a bit, and it can create data sets based on credit scores, consumer demographics, etc. All of it incredibly useful for certain industries. Feed it into a synthetic data generator and come up with some kind of data chart, and it will produce properties and characteristics based on the real data while taking away any privacy concerns. It will literally generate fake data. For example, it'll change names, it'll change bank account numbers, but it will maintain useful properties of the original data to create the patterns of probability useful in the real world. So often the reason for synthetic data is because confidential information, not only is it hard to come by because of legal reasons, but also think financial records, medical histories, etc., etc. So for example, if you can get rid of sensitive information in dealing with healthcare, well, now it makes whatever information you have left extremely valuable and useful and cheaper. It's basically dumbed down data based on real information. It's dumbed down because it's simpler to process for the computers. So you can have volumes and volumes of well-labeled synthetic data, using it to train AI, the large language models, with the ultimate result of basically teaching the algorithm. But it's all based on probabilities, mathematical probabilities. So essentially it's all about statistical properties and data structures, things that the algorithm can use and learn from. But the idea that synthetic data, which looks real, but it's not. It's AI generated and completely fake, just to be used as a model for the machine learning without the issues of bureaucracy, privacy concerns, all the legalities behind that. But I gotta say that the people that are preaching about all these insane abilities of the AI, well, they stand to make a lot of money. And unfortunately, there may be a lot of people to lose their jobs, especially the low-level office jobs. But at the same time, there could be a lot of opportunity for making money, starting a company, etc., etc. So many guys are online teaching how to make money with AI. So the robot wars, are they coming? I don't think so. Not anytime soon. But of course, the Looney Tunes like this guy, well, they never talk about the people making the AI, programming the AI. It's just insanely silly. It is always about the money. Always. And maybe a little bit of control. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining me in this video. Please don't forget to smash a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.